format for this meeting is a 10-minute speaker, our secretary's announcements, a coffee and snack break, and our main speaker. Our first speaker for tonight is Vladamir.
Good evening, Vladimir, alcoholic. Glad to be alcoholic. Glad to see so many alcoholics. I was not happy to be alcoholic, to call even possibility of it. I was like fighting, and Doug is right there. His face. And I was pretend to be, I'm not, and I did everything possible, as in the book says. But it is what it is, and if you knew, keep coming back, and then you find yourself, you find home. Like, this is home to me. I'm first time here, and I really feel like home. And it's a weird feeling, but it's a good feeling, and I'm home on Earth too. Like, I thought I'm from freaking Mars or something. And you guys are like, but it is my home, and it's okay to be alcoholic. And then you just have to learn how to use it. It's like, I learned how to, big book for me is like a instructional manual for you. If you like, you buy a car or motorcycle, and you just like how to drive it. You know, what kind of oil put it in, when you change your brakes, when you do this, you do that, and you just read it. And every morning you just kind of service it, and it's done. And at night you pray, meditate, and it's doable. And I thought life was life was a chore when I was a kid, and then I become teenager. I thought life is a chore, and it's so hard. Life is so hard. And I reward myself with alcohol, and I'm like, oh yeah, now I understand. I have to like live this hard life, and then reward myself with alcohol, and then like, yeah, I'm hard worker, I'm hard learner, I'm this, and like, and it worked for a while, and until it didn't. Until you drink the alcohol, it feel like nothing but just getting sick, but the craziness is still there. And then, luckily again, I have some guys here who, we're on a program, and I looking down, and I can tell, admit it right now, and I'm not even keep it secret anymore. You guys can ask any questions you want, any, and I can answer it without even like being nervous or like thinking about what should I say. I don't know. I haven't, and I learned it here in Alcoholics Anonymous how to live free like that, and then and the steps behind me right there. It's And I'm just going to mumble a little bit. I was not like this. I didn't like to speak, first of all. When I come in this country, I'm from Russia, and I didn't speak English until I was like 30. And part of it, Alcoholics Anonymous make me be able to speak and without thinking it. And then ego, amount of ego and proportion of God and ego makes us making it or not. It's just like in this bottle, there's like half of it's air and half of it is water. If it's air, it's not enough air, right? I have to get rid of this water. I have to bring it down like, it's still there, but now it's air, I can breathe. And it's the same thing with our ego. The first steps, if you admit it, and you believe in God, and then ego start going down. And then you can breathe for a second. And then fourth and fifth, you get more. And then 6 and 7, I thought like, that's what it says. Is we entirely ready for God to remove this, right? But I was thinking like, okay, I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to womanize. I'm not going to do this. But I want to keep my right to defend my point of view, right? Or something like that. I have to be able to like say, but I don't have to be right. I've been told here in Alcoholics Anonymous, you want to be happy or you want to be right? And I use it against my wife all the time. I forget sometimes. You're just like, yeah. All of a sudden I feel my ego goes like through the roof and about to, and I'm like, no, dude, calm down. And in the 7, it says, humbly ask God to remove those defective characters. Because I always be like fighting my defective character, and then they say, all right, God, fine, remove it. It's like I give him favor, like it's fine. No, I just humbly ask, and those things, and only after that, after you do this, you be able to make the list of people who you harm. Otherwise, some people will be not on the list. If I don't humble my enough, half of the list is not going to be on the list. because that guy, he did it to me, you know. I did nothing wrong. Actually, I'd give him a favor. I teach him a lesson how to do it. But it's amazing how it works. I didn't know none of it stuff. And then now it's like opening up more and more, and like more will be revealed. Now I can at least explain, right? A little bit, at least to myself. Before I got sober, and obsession of wanted to drink left me, and I don't know how. It was kind of magic. But then I try to analyze how to explain it to newcomer, or, you know, I have some sponsees and I still have a hard time to explain it to. That's all I'm practicing with you guys, how to explain this crap. Yeah. So, and my 9th step, literally, I felt like my wings grow, and I'm like, I can fly. And I'm like, wow, dude, I didn't know I have the superpowers like that, right? But it felt good. But again, that ego goes back, and then you have to be able to maintain it down by doing service, by coming here, you know? Otherwise, I say, no, I'm busy, dude. I can't do it, Keith. I can't come here, you know? But no, humbly means like say yes, come in, do stuff. And I go to my morning meetings every morning, and I thought I will never be treasurer or anything like that. I'll never, you know, you have to pay me money to do it. And I've been treasurer for, I think, like 3 years now. And I love it, because as soon as I think like I'm on Wednesday morning, I'm a treasurer, and I'm like, no, I'm lazy, kind of don't want to go to bed. No, shit, I'm treasurer, I have to pick up money. And I get there. By the time I get there, some people come, either newcomer or something, and I'm like, whoa. After the meeting, I'm like 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm like all pumped up, ready to take my daughter to school, and, you know, I'm all charged up. So yeah, Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, not just saved my life, saved my soul, put it that way. That's more important in life. Because like probably most of us here, like there was a times when you like, you don't want to leave anymore, you know? And literally like you will kill yourself if you just have enough energy and guts and just do it. But you kind of like either tired or literally paralyzed, and you're like, oh shit, when I wake up, I'll do it. And we wake up like, you go to the free again. Okay, I'm fine now. And literally like that. But life is not a chore. Life is a gift, and you have to kind of learn how to enjoy that gift, and it's beautiful, you know. Really, I never see the sunset and air and just birds and, you know, just happy faces. I go in meetings just to see how many birthdays people have. Just celebrate newcomers, 30 days, 60 days, birthday. But again, like you have to earn it. And don't be afraid to earn it. If you knew, it's fun. You just have to like, you know, don't be afraid. The fear is another thing, the biggest character defect, the fear. Doing something important, doing something we fear of change, you know, fear of people who talked about me. Who gives a crap? I'm not that important. I thought I'm important. And I'm so important that I have to make some kind of image of me in my head, and I have to match. I should know what you think, and I don't know what you think, and it's not important. You know, important. We're all here, happy, see your smiles, and yeah, life is good. And people treat me differently too, for sure. My son talks to me. Before it was, he's like 35 right now. And again, Doug met my son when he was kids, and I treat him badly. I even beat him up a few times, you know, because he was big. He's a tall guy. He's like 6'7". He's 300 pounds, big dude. And now I love you, Dad. You know, when I call him before, it was like, whatever, dude. Now he's like, I love you, Dad. And that's how it changed, and, you know, and yeah, life is good. And if you, what else? Yeah, I'm going backwards. Yeah, came originally from Russia, grew up in like 70s and 80s in Belarus, small town, moonshine. It was my chore to make it as a kid. Beer for us it's not alcoholic beverage, like regular beer. Any kid can go and get a beer. And we sit in school, like put in my bag, and it's fine. And but I didn't really have a craving for booze until like my teenagers years, because I think that's when my ego start kicking in. That's when in my head I have to look certain ways. I have to like those girls like me or don't like me kind of thing. Before I didn't really care. Then like what kind of shoes I wear, oh my God, I don't look good. And booze helps, to talk in front of people. It gives me courage, give me all the stuff. And of course, I don't like the country, I don't like communists, which is I still don't, but I thought it's their fault. So I left the country, like the geographics, right? And I travel around, Soviet Union back in the days. You go to Georgia, you go to Caucasus Mountains, you go to different areas. And I've been in different countries. In Iran, for instance, you can't drink, but people still do drink. You can literally, if you're local, you can get shot and killed if you're drunk. If you're foreigner, they can beat you up and send you like 24 hours to leave the country. But we still drink, and people do drink there's alcoholics there too. And I smuggle booze. I would just remember because we can sell it for more. So I will duct tape the bottles and I wear baggy pants like people wear right now. You can put like 4 bottles next to your legs, and and I did it. I smuggled it, and we drink there. Yeah. So growing up again, like my ego grew up, and then I thought because of country, because of my first wife, I got married young, and she was, crazy. We both were crazy. That's because we're young. And I came here in the United States, and I saw the freedom. For me, freedom was like fridge full of beer. One of the wrestlers, I remember we went to visit him, and it was unspeakable in the Soviet Union back then, have a fridge separate in garage, your own fridge, and full of beer. Or other booze. It was just like the fridge, regular fridge in the house, and, for family, and he had all this, and I'm like, yeah, that's my dream. That was my American dream. And again, it's a dream come true, and you got what you want, and then again, it turned around and beat me really hard. Yeah, my last 2 years of my career, of drinking career, was horrible. Like before it was like I was partially, when a kid, you just kind of party, have fun. Then you become kind of functional alcoholic. You do stuff, you take care of, kid. I was like single father for most of my life. And the kid grow, I look at him, you have to kind of responsibility. And I was an athlete. Part of it was my addiction too, because you're working hard. All right, this time. I will shut up, you guys. I will love you, and thanks for letting me share. Katrina will tell you.
We will recite the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. All right, now our main speaker will English, please. Yes. Now our main speaker will share his or her experience, strength, and hope with us. Please join me in welcoming Katrina.
Thank you, Lord. Katrina, alcoholic. Hi, Auntie Sassy. Hi, Zoomies. Hello, everybody. Whoa, I can see all your faces. I'm Katrina, and I'm definitely an alcoholic. There's no question about it. For me, and that's all that matters. Thank you, Vlad, for your share. I wanted to hear more. This is good shit, the American dream. Welcome to the newcomers who did identify, who didn't identify. Welcome home. I hope you found what some of us have found here. And like Mark with the literature commitment, which was radical. I love your dude, yes. Passion is what that is, Do it with someone, recommended, suggested, just a suggestion. Go wild, I don't know. Read the stories by yourself if you want to, but maybe do the first 164 with another individual. That's just a suggestion. So, I love you. My sobriety date is February 14th, 2014, and happy birthday, 30 years, right on. And 2, happy birthday. My sobriety date is February 14th, 2014. I have a sponsor. She knows she's my sponsor. I have sponsees that when they decide to work with me, they do. But I'm willing. And I work the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous as they are outlined in the big book. And I really do thank God for AA, but I also thank AA for God, because I didn't have that before, and I was running on self-will, and that was what got me here. So let's do this, man. Let's just get into the nitty-gritty. I was born, raised in the South Bay. We party hard. It looks normal, right? We rage, we skate and steal, 40s or 30 packs from Ralph's. I owe an amends to all the Ralphs. And we do stuff, and it just seems normal when we're young, right? We do these things. It just seems normal. You hang out with people, we party, blah, blah, blah. Some people grow out of it. Others don't, and they can live a normal life, which, woohoo, and I was not one of those. My first drink was when I was living on a farm with my grandpa in Arizona. I loved it out there, and I had a bourbon and squirt, and I don't remember like the details, but I just remember being like, yeah, I'm with grandpa. I got a bourbon and squirt, and I realized I wanted to be a waitress, because then I could just make all these all the time, and make people happy, because it made grandpa very happy. And, I don't know what makes me an alcoholic, and I really don't care. And I don't think about it too much, because I feel like being too intelligent, too smart could really screw me out of this, but I don't think being too dumb will. So I'm gonna do that. I don't think about it too much. I have on like everyone in my family, history about alcoholics, addicts, all that, right? If you divide those. And on my dad's side, everyone kind of crashed and burned. And then on my mom's side, everyone was recovery, right? So I saw both aspects. And I did both things, right now I'm in this phase, thank God, but it's so funny. When I was younger, I was like, I'll never be like my dad. And then I did all the things my dad had done, and I was like, wow. I did a lot of geographics. I did the running thing. So drank in high school, raged, got away, crashed cars, got away. I was a runner, and so I never got caught. I didn't get big consequences, right? Which I'm very fortunate, and I never hurt anyone like that. Got in a lot of fights. But I got away a lot, which I think probably delayed some of my consequences and like awareness of how bad my alcoholism had gotten. I moved at 19. I went to Hawaii because I was pissed at the colleges for not taking me. Turns out you have to apply. So my resentment that I held on to for years and literally worked in, my fourth step with my sponsor, it's a mirage, it's like you had to like fill out an application, crazy. But I was pissed, and I was like, screw El Camino, I'm too good for them. I'm going to Hawaii, I'm going to surf. Got hooked on a white alcohol substance out there, and didn't really surf much, surfed a couple days, and then I was awake at night most of the time, and I wasn't doing much surfing. And I remember calling my mom and being like, yo, you got to order me a pizza because I'm out of money, and I know you can call and give your credit card over the phone. Can you call Domino's? And she goes, you're in Hawaii, figure it out. Rude. But yeah, so I did that. I ran away there, but I was there with me. I came back. I crashed another car. It was in my name for 2 days. It was a minivan. It was sick. It was like my little surf van. And I crashed outside the Redondo Police Department. And my girlfriend was in the car with me, and we found out she was pregnant like 2 days later. So thank God I didn't kill her or myself or whatever, anybody else. And I ran, and the police came to my parents' house, and my mom was so worried, and they go, oh, no, we saw her running, barefoot, and she was fast, and I jumped into a getaway car and got away. And my mom, I tried to come out, I was like, someone stole my car. She's like, no, they didn't. You know, she's like, she's got what, like 42 years clean sober now. And yeah, she knows all the tricks, you know, and she goes, no, that you were driving your car. And so to get her off my back, I got sober for almost a year. And I say almost a year because I felt like if I had a year, it would have been permanent. And I was just doing AA to get someone off my back, right? Because she was going to kick me out of her house. And I was like, all right, this is me just, you know, cleaning up enough to where, okay, I won't do hard drugs anymore unless it like goes up my nose because that's not really a drug. And then, you know, like I'll just drink. And so I did that after the 11 months because I faked it. And then it took me about 6 years with alcohol because alcohol is my master, you know, was. And it was insidious, man. It was like, it used to be fun. And then I remember I was drinking like half a 30-pack a day and half a gallon of Carlo Rossi. And then I'd sneak shots that I had hidden from bottles, like from my ex-husband at the time. I ran away to Alaska, got married because he was going to save me. He was in the military. God bless. Spoiler alert, that didn't work out. I was married for less than 9 months. They annul it. They don't even give you like a legit divorce. It's not even, they don't even acknowledge, they're like, I know, that, you guys, you screwed that up. So that didn't work. I've since made amends to that man, which he was the first one I said I wasn't going to do. And my sponsor's like, that's funny. He's your second amends. And I did that. And thank God, because that was the hardest thing at that time that I thought I would ever do. And I thanked him for everything he did for me. And I took responsibility for how I participated in that horrible relationship, you know, and how much pressure I put on him to fix me. That wasn't fair. And I've since been able to, there was a reporter that called in Colorado and said that he was homeless and he was hooked on everything, you know, and he just needed help. And I said, he has help here if he wants it. You know, I will always extend that hand if he needs. I get chills because I really do care. He's an individual and he's a child of God. He deserves a good life, you know. And I told that lady, if you want to write about anything, because she asked me, what is he like? And I go, he's a human. I said, if you want to write about anything, write about the disservice that you're doing for the military and not treating mental health. He asked for help and you denied it. How about write about that? You know, and if he needs help, you call me, and that's all I'm giving you, you know. And that was a blessing. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I had not worked the steps, you know, because I would have been pride and ego, you know, and it would have been all about me. It would not have been about another sick individual. That's the power in those steps, you know. That's just one example, man. It rains out there. It's yeah. So, yeah, I did a lot of wreckage, and out of that divorce, I hit bottom. I came home, did some incomprehensible, demoralizing things that I said I would never do. And I remember taking the bus home, hungover, to my mommy's house where I'm living in a storage room, and none of the stuff is mine. I don't have anything to my name. And I'm just like, I feel like crap. And I'm just like, I don't want to live like this anymore. And I do have to say, like, I used to pray all the time that God would just take my minivan and ram it into a pole and just take me out. Or these people who would be diagnosed with cancer, give it to me. I want to go, man. I'll take it, you know, and not as a selfless act, but just because I want to go. I was not afraid to die, but I was terrified to live. I thought everyone else had a manual and I got gypped. Someone robbed me, you know. God really screwed me, you know. I really believed that. And that day I came home and took some pills in a cabinet, which I'm pretty sure they were expired, but you know, who's checking that? And I told myself I'm going to take a shower, so I'm going to OD, and my mom, I'll leave her a clean body, you know, which was my logic, which was so weird. And I had talked to my mom that day, and she gave me a little more clarity a couple weeks ago. She said, you know, you asked for help. She said, you don't know what to do anymore. You're going to end it. I just need help. And you hung up. And she came home from work, which I feel so bad. I put my mom through that. But she came home from work and took me to the hospital where they put me on the 5150. And I've since been able to work at that hospital as a nurse and do a 5150 on other alcoholics, addicts of our kind, and let them know there's hope, And I tell them I've been where you are right now. I was literally in this room, tied down and not allowed to pee without someone watching me. And there is hope, that gives me chills too, because that's empathy. I have that now. The military, so I do that. I go to the hospital. They send me to the psych ward, which I felt at home. The guy's coming at me like this, and I'm like, he's cool. This feels okay. Like a little chaos feels okay, and I eventually became his daughter, which was weird. But I felt comfortable there. I felt safe because they took everything. I didn't even have a bra because the wire I could, So they took everything and I was like, I feel safe here. And, but for the first 3 days, I couldn't come out of my room. Like I was dead. And so I got the 5250 because I don't get one of anything. And they put me on that. And I remember they brought a panel in, and me and this guy kept talking about our mental health and depression. We've always dealt with it. And they bring this panel in, and I was pissed because it was right at the Wheel of Fortune time. It was like 7:30. And I loved Wheel of Fortune. This panel comes in trying to like ruin my day, And they come in and we talked, me and that dude, I don't remember what was said, but we talked for like 3 hours after that because we were just like, what are we missing? They seemed like happy and stuff, but they were talking about that they had done what we did and we just felt different, and they, at that rehab or the psych ward, they go, okay, the scariest time was when they said, all right, now we're going to release you. And I was like, oh, no, because I still have, I remember thinking I have no solution. I'm going to go back and do the same thing. And this time I'm going to succeed because I don't want to live anymore. And I don't care who's affected because no one else exists in my mind. And so they said, do you think you have a problem with drugs and alcohol? And I said, I'm pretty sure I do, but let's call my parents to confirm because I don't want to like commit, if I'm not absolutely sure. And I called them, they confirmed, and I accepted help to go to treatment. And thank God to the U.S. Army that they facilitated that with, they take care of their military spouses, and I'm forever grateful for that. And anyone who's in the service or thank you for your service. I got sent there and I was there for 30 days and I completely opened myself up. I was like, I don't know, you do, show me, and I said, I did everything they said to do. And it was really uncomfortable. I was miserable. I would sit outside. I remember, so this is a funny story. This is just a fun one. So I remember the detox part, because after the, psych experience where they're just trying to tranquilize you so you're not like, you go over here and they detox you. They only did mine for a day because I had been off, whatever. So they do the detox, and I remember I'm like very uncomfortable, and I'm sitting in the corner and I'm like this. And then I know she's going to check my blood pressure. So I'm trying to get Ativan, and I'm like, I'm anxious. And she's like, yeah, you just sat in the corner over there and huffed and puffed. I'm not giving you Ativan. And I'm like, rude. It was like, those were my little tactics. But I was so uncomfortable. I was like, you need to neutralize me, And they didn't do it. And I was pissed. And I got admitted. And that was the best experience. I remember Donna, the psychologist, walking by. I was crying. And I go, Donna, this isn't working for me, and, give me something. And she goes, welcome to being a human. And I was like, and she walks away. I was like, we are no longer friends, Donna, but it clicked. It was like, I had that moment where it was like, oh, people do this, and stay there for a minute, and it gave me grace to just be there and process and be okay with, it just sucks right now, but I'm going to be okay, right? I didn't know that part yet. So I did that. One of the second scariest days was leaving that rehab. And my dad, who was sober at the time, we had a good run of 5 years with him, which I'm grateful for that we at least had that. He picked me up and he drove me to the noon meeting because I was like, leave me here. I'm just going to live here now. And I went to TLC and did the noon meeting. I did the 4 o'clock retreads. I did the 5:30 commuters. I did this 7. I did the Marina Center. I lived in meetings, and that was my job. And I linked up with 2 other individuals who were also newer like me. One of them had 30 days more and one had 5 days less. But one scared me and I was like, will you be my friend because you scare me a little? And she's like, yeah, sure, And then the other one, I didn't like her out when we used to get loaded. And I was like, you seem kind of cool now. Do you want to hang out? I'm doing this too. And then we just surfed. We acted like children. We camped. We surfed. We had no money. We would go do these buffets and we'd just gorge on food, and just we were like kids. And we just had to break it down. I was 6 months sober and I was a 6-month-old child, I had to break it down. I do have to say that at, I think 90 days, I hit that wall again where I was so depressed and I was like, I want to die again. What the heck? I'm not drinking. What's the problem? I didn't delve into this program right away. And so I followed this chick that I had seen at the coffee bar, and I knew her from back in the day because she sold me things that I liked back in the day. And I had seen this shift. She used to scare me. And I see this shift, and she had what I wanted. They said, find someone who had what you wanted. And she had light, and she had people attracted to her. And I didn't believe it. So I stalked her, and I went to multiple meetings, and it was legit. And I asked her to sponsor me, which was terrifying. And she didn't say yes. She said, call me every day, the same time, for the next week, and you're going to say, today I commit to stay sober and engage in good behavior. My good behavior for today is fill in the blank. And she goes, I don't care what it is. And you call me at the same time every day. And so I did that every day for the first, I want to say 7 years of my sobriety. Fell off a little bit when I switched sponsors and we changed it up a little. But I did that. And I started working with her, and that's when the magic happened. I was only as honest as I could be at that time, and I think that's why we work this continuously over and over and with other people, because you see stuff that you don't, I see stuff in other people that I wouldn't see if I wasn't working with other people. And I think that's another reason why meetings are important, is because some stuff I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I had that too. And that's why it's important, because sometimes when it gets good, I'm like, I'm doing all right. Do I really need that? It's like you need to be reminded, or you need to be of service somewhere. So it's, so yeah, I started working with her. We got through our steps. She had me doing, I do gratitude lists daily. I still do that. And I share with a lot of people, and it makes me feel really connected, and I need that connection. I got to share too, at 8 years, right before my 9th birthday, I got the job. I had the truck. I had the apartment. I had all the things. And I got away from doing all the things that we do, right? All the foundational work and the basics. And really trippy thing happened. I was driving home from work and I was like, I'm doing pretty good. Maybe it was circumstantial the way I drank, right? Maybe. And this is my disease in doing push-ups, right? We got her. And I remember driving, I was on my way home, and the liquor store that I wanted to go to was actually closed, but we are pretty resourceful. So I went home and I call Robin. And I know Robin won't judge me, and I feel safe talking to her. And I say, Robin, I'm pretty sure I'm going to drink. Why don't I? And she goes, well, how about this? You can drink tomorrow, but come to the meeting before. And I was like, okay. And that was a Sunday. So we went to the Monday night. which I've been at and taken commitments all through like my sobriety. Done a cleanup, man. That was a big resentment, but it kept me coming, you know. No one can put chairs up. I don't get it, but so that was good. And got to work on resentments too. And so I show up at that meeting and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna ask Ron, like, why don't I drink? Like, maybe it'll be different. Maybe, like, you don't know. You can't really tell me that it won't, right? And he said something that really, like, it rattled my brain and it snapped me into consciousness. And he said, because you'll lose your soul, baby. And I was like, oh yeah, that empty pit in my soul that I like could never fill, this filled it. And I would lose my soul. Fuck, man, that's the whole reason I'm not loaded. And that means that me just picking up a drink means I'm no longer giving a shit about whoever lost, you know, whatever family member. I no longer care about putting that cart back so that guy doesn't have to pull all those carts and put them back himself. I no longer care that the lady in back of me needs to rush and go get her dog because he's sick at the vet, you know, and let her go in front of me. I don't care anymore. Now it's just all about me. That's what I lose when I pick up a drink. That's what I lose when I pick up a drug. That's what I lose when I no longer see God's will for me as my purpose in life. That's it. It no longer becomes about the drink. It doesn't become about that. It becomes about my soul. I do not want to lose it because when I lost that, I had nothing. This is the blueprint for my life. And I have a soul now. I have empathy. I can connect with people. The veil has been lifted. It's a gift. You know, I am conscious, I am present, I am able to breathe today. I can look people in the eyes and give a shit and not be afraid. I don't care what you think about me. I hope you like me, but if you don't, bye. Like, it's not gonna kill me. It's okay. And you have your people that it'll be fine. You know, you don't have to dance with everyone. And it's so funny because in rehab, they asked me, what do you want? What do you want your life to look like? And I said, car, boyfriend, apartment, cute cat. How about freedom? Like freedom. I remember I used to like do the whole anarchy burger, hold the government. You know, it's like I wanted anarchy because it was just detached in my mind. But even that came with all this crap, you know, and all I wanted was freedom. Oh, and that's really nice to have now. And I will not give that shit up. Right, Greg? Yeah, we're not giving up our serenity and our peace for anything, man. We've worked too hard for this, you know, but we will give it away. We will give it away to people who want it, who want that little piece of hope, you know. So at that meeting, I got a new sponsor. And I'm forever grateful for you guys for saving my life that day. You know, I really am. And this is why we stay connected, you know, because without those people I feel comfortable with, I'm as sick as my secrets, I would have gone out. If I didn't have people that I could have connected with, I can guarantee you I would have been out. I started working with a new sponsor. What we found through doing more work is that I kind of buffed through 6 and 7. And those, for the newcomers, character defects. That's what I'm running on, you know? And I think it was like in the book, it was like 2 paragraphs or something on it. And then you just like go. And that's what me and my first sponsor did. And so with this sponsor, I literally took out character defects for like 4 days. I would work on one character defect. And then I never threw them away because I'm like, I just don't know when that's going to pop up again. You know, because I love how you said that humbly. That hit me tonight. Before I can do making a list, I have to humble my ass, right? So I hadn't done that as well as I thought I had the first time. And so with her, I really was able to delve in a little deeper and really work on those defects. And where they pop up now, I'm like, oh, keep your mouth shut. How do you walk through this with compassion and love? This isn't God's will for you if your ego and pride are like overflowing. So the pause, man, I used to be very reactionary, and the pause is a gift. And that's what that gave me. But we really still, 6 and 7 is huge for me. And I want to share a story on that too. The second time I did my 4th step, I put my dad on there again because I'm like, it just doesn't feel like I worked through this properly because I'm just not finding the forgiveness. And I'm working on it. I'm doing writing, because pen to paper, it's a magical thing and it's annoying, but a lot of good stuff comes out of it, And I put pen to paper because I no longer wanted to hang on to this. And I was writing about my dad, and, he was homeless, in and out of jail, prison, whatever, drugs, women, weird stuff, whatever. So in my inventory, what the thing was that I was upset about is he never showed up for me, as a kid. He never showed up. Lie. So he would show up, but not how I wanted him to. So it was my 18th birthday. He showed up. He got fucked up with us. We had a kegger, and he was there. He was hammered with his crazy chick in his homeless van, and we were getting down, but I was like, what kind of father is he, And then my graduation, he showed up, but he was still homeless, and he was yacked out, and I was like, but he was there, and then he showed up at multiple other things, but in my head, he hadn't shown up for me. That's why I was upset. And I wrote it down, and I was like, oh God, he showed up at all these things, but like a selfish child, not the way I wanted him to. And it broke me open. And I called my sponsor and I go, I'm an asshole. I was like, I was in tears, and I was like, I am a complete jerk. And she goes, what? Do tell. And she likes that stuff. And so I tell her, I go, he showed up the best way he could. His childhood, awful, right? It doesn't excuse behavior, but I can understand it. I can have compassion for it. And it broke me open to oh God, he was doing the best he could. And he has this disease too. And it let go of everything that I was angry about at him for. And then it made me feel like a jerk. And that sucked. But it allowed me to let that go, and I sat in those feelings, and it was okay. And that was a big one, and the humbly part. Thank you for bringing that up, because I have to humble myself before I can really move on to letting go of those defects of judgment and the lies, going through this with a sponsor. A lot of lies coming out, like the college thing too. I do want to say I've been treated in Alcoholics Anonymous after doing thorough inventory, thorough work. I suffer with some I don't suffer. I am challenged with some depression, and got diagnosed bipolar, and went to an IOP program as a sober woman, working the industry I work in, doing healthcare, knowing a lot. I know a lot about a lot about a little, but I asked for help. I asked for mental health treatment because those dark days were just so bad, man. And then I'd have these manic episodes where I'd just buy couches, I'd somebody showed up and took my couch, and my sister's like, what's going on? I'm like, I'm getting a couch. Costco's got a couch, I need this giant couch. They're and my best friend's terrified, and, my family's just okay, and when I got diagnosed bipolar, they're that makes sense, and I did treatment, and it allowed me to have that. I was pretty pissed about that, but I've been able to have that self-awareness and work through that, and connect with other people who struggle with that too, and that's okay, and I have to be honest about that stuff, or else it'll take me out too. I do want to say I've been blessed with a lot. How many? I don't want to go. 5? Let's go. So in sobriety, I've had a 4.
No, sorry, 5 minutes.
5. You got it. So I will, Keith, just for that. Let's see. So in sobriety, what this has given me is definitely a new freedom, right? But also connection. So I lived with my parents the first 7 years of my sobriety, and I only had planned the first year, right? I made it through nursing school. I showed up, I did my EMT school, then here's what I really did. The first year, I went and I got the 10-year, 2-year degree that I only needed one course to complete in order to get. So I got a 2-year degree after 10 years and only 1 year sober. So I got that. It's crazy when you show up, what happens. I completed that, and then Pumpkin, I really wanted to ride. And I didn't know I could ride, right? I didn't even, my dreams were so, I was on the back of a bike because the Put and Sober Biker meeting is my home group, right? And Monday Night Hollywood Riviera, because I don't like one of anything. And so at that meeting, we all rode, right? A bunch of people put me on their bikes, and I was on Papa Randy's bike, and we're riding down San Francisco, riding down in the sun setting, and I was bawling my eyes out, and I felt God. I felt the presence of God, and I love you, Pumpkin. And I felt, and I saw, and I could smell, and I saw colors, and I could breathe air, and it was like, where had I been? I was conscious. And after that experience, I'm like, I want this, like a true alcoholic. I want more. And I told Pumpkin, I was like, yeah, I wish I could ride, but I can't afford a bike. And he goes, oh, you don't have to afford a bike. You just have to go take the test, take the class. So I sign up for the course, and I go, but Pumpkin, I'm going to do this course and I'm going to take the test, but I don't have a bike. He goes, well, you just take the test. And so I took the test, and it's about what this is me just showing up and doing the action, right? Next indicated step. It's none of my business what the results are, right? So I show up, I take my test, I do the things, and then I go, okay, Pumpkin, now I got to start saving money. I don't know how I'm going to do this, because I'm only going to buy a Harley. And so he goes, well, I've got a Triumph. I'm going to meet you at Aviation Gym, and you're going to ride that thing. And I'm riding it, whatever. And then he goes, all right, take it home. And I'm just like, and he goes, see you when I see you. And I think I put 5,000 miles on that bike in the first 3 months or something. And I was off, I was like, yeah. And so it was crazy. And that showed me that, okay, I don't have to know what the outcome is. I just have to show up. So in that experience, I was able to do, the El Camino thing. I was able to get my AA degree. Then I showed up and did the EMT thing, which I had taken that EMT course twice before. Am I done? I had taken that.
No, finish it up.
Okay, I'd taken that course before, but never completed it because I always was like, I'll tell you when I'm done, You're not going to tell me. And so I completed my EMT course. Then I went and did my nursing program. Scariest thing ever, signing that for, student loans and shit, but it's manageable, whatever. Not looking at it. And then I did that, and then I graduated during COVID. I did all these things, and I did an ego feeding position. I was working the ER. I wanted to say I was a badass ER nurse, I was miserable because I was doing it for me. I have since moved over to oncology, and that's where my purpose is. I connect with people. I get chills when I put hands on people. My gift is to be a light. And my gift is the St. Francis prayer, to comfort, comfort rather than to be comforted, to be all the despair, this is such a despair, the disease and all the shit, whatever. I got to wrap it up. But anyways, yeah, man, next indicated step, stay out of the results. It's none of your business. None of my business what happens. I just keep showing up and sharing it. And with that, I think I'm done. Thank you guys so much for letting me speak at this meeting.